One of my favorite people on this shrine monument built in 1936 is James Bonham, right behind me. James Bonham was one of the unique characters, in my estimation, of the Alamo because he was a man of his word. Here's what happened. Travis, knowing that the days were numbered, the days were short, and he needed volunteers up the gazoo, sent out scouts here and there, but he sent Bonham to Goliad, and he wanted people from Goliad and Gonzales, the surrounding areas, to come and join and fight for Texas independence. He was desperate. So he sends Bonham out. He gives him a scarf to tie around his head so that riding back with the news, he won't get shot by the Texans on the inside of the Alamo thinking he's a Mexican trying to break through. And so Bonham turns to Travis. They're second cousins, friends probably since childhood, both from South Carolina. And Bonham says to Travis, listen, I'll go and ask Fannin if he can bring his soldiers to our aid in all speed. And then I'll let you know either way what the results are. And I will come back. I give you my word. And so off he goes. Well, Fannin couldn't do it. Fannin said, nope, I've tried. I just can't bring that many soldiers that quick. By this time, it was the first day of March. As we know, the Alamo fell the 6th of March. They don't know that then. Bonham rides back with a guy named Ben Highsmith. He's a young 19-year-old. And Ben tells Bonham, listen, it's no use. You're not going to get into the Alamo, and I don't want to follow you any further. I tried getting in several days ago, and I was chased for 6 days into who knows where, running from the Mexicans. The soldiers were after me. There's no way. You'll get shot on the way in, or they'll capture you and execute you right on the spot. Bonham says, I have to go in. He says, why do you keep saying you have to go in? He says, because I gave Travis my word, and my word is sacred to me, and I am going in. You know, that's so hard for us to imagine. Years ago, when you bought something and you told the farmer, I'm going to buy that tractor, but I got to go into town and get some money, don't sell it. I'm coming back. I give you my word. You know how they would seal the deal? Yeah, that's right. They would shake hands. Shaking hands was a man's bond. We've lost that. So I'm going to take you to another part of the Alamo and make a devotional conclusion to the importance of what Bonham did and how we can learn a valuable lesson from James Bonham and apply it to our life. I've come to the back side of the Alamo. It's getting a little late. It's about 8 o'clock here, Central Standard Time at the Alamo. But I want to talk about Bonham's commitment. When he gave his word, he died for that word. When Jesus called the disciples and they made a covenant with him, a blood covenant, he started talking about that in John 6, and it was so strange for them. Not only the disciples, but those that followed him. He had many followers. And when he talked about taking his body and drinking his blood, spiritually and symbolically, they didn't know what to do with it. They took off for the hills. And Jesus said to the disciples, are you going to leave me also? We know they didn't, because 10 of them died martyrs' deaths. Their word was their bond. And like James Bonham, they died for their faith. He died in the Alamo right behind me here. They died in various countries evangelizing to the point they wouldn't recant. Polycarp, they say Polycarp was a disciple of John. And well into his 90s, they took him to the lions and they said, if you'll recant, we'll spare your life. He said, I've served the Lord so many years, there's no way that I'm going to change. And my word is my bond. Absolutely not. I refuse to turn from Jesus. And he followed through and he died. We're a nation of covenant breakers. We make vows at an altar. I've performed weddings for several Christians over the years, only to find that they broke their word. When they said till death do them part, that's fake. It only lasted 7 to 10 years. In one case, it lasted 3 years. It's so hard for people to think, I've got to keep my word. Now, I know there are grounds for people to dissolve marriages, but I'm just saying it's so common now. Contracts are broken. People that give their word that they're going to follow through, they're breaking their word. Jesus tells us in the last days, these are things that would happen. People would break their word, break their covenant. They wouldn't be faithful and true and follow through. We see that in 1 Timothy. So let's be people that will say, I'll do everything in God's power, helping me to follow through when I give my word for somebody and to somebody, whether it's my wife, my husband, my children, my employer. Someone as light as even saying, I'll be there at a certain time. You show up to buy that car, or you call them and said, I've changed my mind. But be honest and upright and frank with people and keep your word to your own hurt. That's what God wants us to do, be people of our word. I leave you with this word to pause and ponder.